Hola, Madrid. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real podcast. We have a very special guest tonight, for the Chelsea second leg preview, and it's none other than Dami. It's been a long time coming. Um, how are you doing, bro? Like, how has life been? I know it's not been great, but in general.
Nah, life is good, man. Listen, life is good. Life is good. I mean, Chelsea aside, Chelsea has me getting dragged online. Obviously, I was on some other platforms recently, and man, them were dragging me left, right, and center.
DR Sports, we saw that.
They cooked me.
It
And
was nasty. It was nasty.
Yeah, that was a nasty one to watch. My team losing up left, right, and center. But listen, me aside, Chelsea aside, I'm good, bro. I'm chilling. So yeah, man, I'm good. Thanks for having me on. It's long overdue.
Man, I'm wondering how you don't have Bald here, man. Like considering what's happened this season. Man.
Pardon?
How don't you have Bald hair? How do you keep your hair?
Bro, listen, it's funny. It's funny because like on some of the comment sections, they were cooking my hairline, but they said my hairline is pushing forward, not backwards. So I was like, positive thing or a bad thing? Like, I don't know what's going on there. It's crazy. Oh, you can't win with these people.
I won't lie, Dami. Like watching you a couple years back, you had better hair for sure.
Did I? Back then? What's changed?
I don't know. Chelsea might have gotten to it. I don't know. Maybe.
Is it, bro? Sure. I think my hairline is too calm, though. I don't think it's that. I mean, I need a trim.
It's calm. I just think it was better back then. I'm not sure.
Maybe. I don't need to grow it out a lot more. Fair enough. I'll take the feedback. Oh, my God.
Well, Jacob and Farouk, how are you boys doing, man? All good?
Man.
All great.
It's all good, man. All good. Looking forward to, having this conversation about Chelsea.
Yeah. Like, before we actually dive into this, like, I want to give our listeners like kind of a brief overview about Dami. So you had Matisse on, and we had like mentioned in the at the end of that preview that we'll be actually getting Dami on. Like it is like they should have been on together. Like it would have been perfect. Like their chemistry and their the whole synergy is so good. Like I actually used to watch you, Anita, and Matisse like a couple of years ago when you guys used to do your thing, and it was great, man. Honestly, it was absolutely really good. But the difference between Matisse and Dami, Matisse is kind of a suppressed sniper. Like he chooses his target, waits for it, and then goes for the kill. Well, Dami over here, like he doesn't beat around the bush. He's a bazooka. He'll just straight up, fire it in your face. So like you can see the contrast in, like both of these guys' approaches when we get into the discussion. But Dami, I have a small like rapid fire. It's kind of a playful thing to get into it before we kind of dampen the mood looking at reality. This is going to be really quick, Dami. Give me a second.
These are not. You don't know another thing they're going to use to drag me online, but you know what?
No. It'll be calm. So one Real Madrid player you would have loved at Chelsea, past or present.
Oh, past or present. You know what? The generic answer is Ronaldo. I mean, peak Ronaldo is
Matisse went for that.
I'm not surprised. But I want to switch up a little bit. I think Zidane was hooked. Zidane is something about that big, beautiful, bald head of his and the technique on the ball, like that just all lines up nicely. Like obviously Ronaldo, banging player, like at his peak at Real Madrid, when he left United and got to Real Madrid, like that is one of the best players we've ever seen and we probably ever will see. But I'm not going to go with Zidane to spice it up a little bit because I feel like Zidane as a footballer, the arrogance he brought to the pitch, like his personality, like he was up on the pitch banging, off the pitch he was a character as well. So like, yeah, I think I'd have gone for Zidane.
Would you have liked him at Chelsea, or did you think that was ever a dream that you could actually make sense of?
You mean, do you think Zidane at Chelsea? I don't think...
In a managerial role, like...
Oh, in a managerial... You know what?
Yeah.
I thought about it, and the thing is, he would, and I don't know if we'll talk about this later, but I feel like we should go for someone like an Enrique or whatever. And I think Zidane is almost in that mold in the sense that you obviously got an individual that will command respect. Like when you look at Potter, like even I was like, I mean, I knew who Potter was because of all the hype in the media and whatever. But if not, if I was like a match going fan who doesn't check their phone or whatever, like one of them, I'll be like, who's that? Do you know what I mean? Who is that? Like, some of them players probably didn't even know who he was, respectfully, you know? So, Zidane, you can't tell me you don't know who Zidane is. Zidane is one of the goats of world football. So, he steps into a dressing room and commands absolute respect. The only thing I have with him is that language barrier. I don't know how strong his English is. I think that's pretty important for
not very strong.
Exactly. So yeah, I would have taken him in the perfect situation. And look, who says we can't take him down in the future? You never know.
You never know. So yeah, I guess you're willing to keep the door open. That's great. But the thing about Potter, quickly, you know, like you just mentioned, how much of a the thing with Potter is, like, I was watching your, I think it was the post-match after the 2-0 loss to Tottenham, and you were mentioning about his Rolex. Like, if a man resorts to getting a Rolex and a trench coat to actually stand out and command respect, man, it's peak, bro. It's peak. It's peak.
For that guy, man. It's crazy. You know, my thing with Potter is like, you know, I don't know if you guys feel this, and I know I'm probably gonna get cooked for this again, but you know, as human beings, you know, when you look at someone, I mean, I've not had a chance to look Potter in the eye, but when you look at someone, you can tell when somebody, it's easy to see confidence, it's easy to see certainty, it's easy to see cadence. You know what I mean? Like when we beat Borussia Dortmund, I was at the stadium for that. When Potter was on the pitch, like you could see the cadence, the bounce in the step. You could see those things. But for me, I never felt that certainty with Potter since he came through the door. And when you see certain quotes in relation to, what do you guys think of me? Why would you do that? Like that's beta behavior, like they like to say. That's B class. That's not, you know what I mean? So it's a bit disappointing, genuinely. Like, I feel like he's a great coach, great tactician, but it wasn't the right fit for Chelsea, man. And I feel like he was set up for failure a little bit, to be honest with you. But yeah, no, it's not personal, you know? It's definitely not personal. It's just, I said what I saw.
We can thank Potter for a lot of things, you know, like we can thank Potter for, you know, saving the Wizarding World against Voldemort. You know, we can thank him for bringing back the meme culture at Chelsea. But most importantly, we should be thanking him for actually bringing back Dami out of retirement. I can't thank him enough, honestly.
Oh my days.
That was a small hiatus, and we missed you. I'm not gonna lie, Dami. But the next one in the rapid fire, Essien against Xabi Alonso. And their prime.
Wait, you asked me to pick between those two?
Yeah.
Oh, don't do this, man. I mean, I think in this situation, like, I'm just going to be 100% biased and pick my Chelsea boy.
You should be biased. Like, you should be biased.
Yeah, because Xabi Alonso, that's ups, in it. You know what I mean? Man played for Liverpool. He went to Real Madrid. Like, I'm not that kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not on that. Respect. So let him just do his thing in the corner. But look, to be fair, they're both brilliant footballers. I feel like Essien wasn't sung as many praises as he should have been. You know, I feel like he falls
very underrated.
He definitely falls into that sort of John Obi Mikel bracket. Obviously, I think he was rated more highly at the time, but definitely a very good midfielder. He could shoot, he could very solid on the ball, very good, a lot of good control. Very good player, man. And I think that I wouldn't be too upset with that pick. But Xabi Alonso is obviously a fabulous footballer as well.
People often forget, you know, the amount of rippers that Essien used to score. It was a fair few. Yeah. Ashley Cole against Marcelo. Next one.
Ashley Cole, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Like, no, but the thing is, it's just like you brought two banging left backs, okay? And the thing is, I feel like
obviously the bias will come into play.
Yeah, this is bias. This is me strictly because, but if I'm being completely objective, I feel
you should be objective.
If I'm being completely objective, I feel like Marcelo ever so slightly edges it out for me because in this, like for me, when it comes to like your complete fullback, Ashley Cole for me was a banger 10, 15 years ago. He would be a banger now, and he would be a banger in 15 years' time. In the sense that that mold of left back, very good in the box. You could get in and around, link up with the winger pretty nicely, solid defensively as well, and you had that reliability on the left-hand side. Absolutely banging. But what Marcelo did in that Real Madrid team over his peak years, moving forward, was absolutely brilliant. I don't think he was the greatest defensively because it wasn't necessarily built for that kind of thing. It was a bit on the chunkier side. But, you know, at the end of the day, I feel like as an overall sort of left back, the sort of things that Marcelo did definitely opened the doors for your modern left back, 100%. But for me, Ashley Cole is a more well-rounded, solid pick to have. But I feel like what Marcelo did as far as the current day is concerned can't be unsung. But yeah, I'd edge Marcelo a little bit objectively, but I think I'd probably stick with Ashley Cole anyways. So I've not answered the question really. I've just said both.
If I may, Dami, like I'm actually, you actually made a good point about the fact that like Cole is an all-rounded player, and you actually point about the fact that
he can actually play in multiple generations, right, Farooq?
Yeah,
Ashley
exactly,
Cole.
definitely. But I was just wondering right now because all the fullbacks we have are like one-dimensional. I
Yeah.
don't know if Dami thinks of anyone that reminds him of Ashley Cole the most in the Premier League, maybe.
Look, I don't want to. So now this season hasn't really, but as far as like well-roundedness, I feel like Reece James is pretty good. Two things for me. I feel like a lot of.
What's going on?
Any fire alarms going on?
There was a fire alarm. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I used to record.
No.
Can you cut this out or?
It's all good. Just carry on.
Fine. But 3, 2, 1. Yeah, so like, look, at the end of the day, for me, Reece James, two things. I have two minor issues with him. Number one, that consistency as far as availability is concerned. Ashley Cole was always there. Like, I can't remember many periods of time when Ashley Cole actually had an injury that kept. I mean, he had a couple of injuries here and there, but not as frequently as Reece James. And I also feel like Reece James, up and down the pitch, I'm not going to comment on his weight. A lot of people feel like, I mean, to each their own, to each their own. But I just feel like, regardless of what he weighs or whatever, I just feel like sometimes you can do a better job of tracking back and getting forward. Because against you guys last week, they cooked him and he couldn't keep up. He genuinely couldn't keep up. Sometimes he was jogging back. I don't know what the cause of all of that is. And somebody somewhere in the world is probably going to be like, damn, you're missing this context. I can't lie, I don't know the context. But from what I saw on the pitch on that day, I definitely do feel like he needs to do a little bit more in that regard. But yeah, I feel like Reece James is pretty well-rounded, all-rounded as a fullback. To get to the Ashley Cole level, it's going to take quite a few years for him, 100%. But yeah, we have something like that at Chelsea at the moment, so I'm not too stressed.
I guess Reece James, the criticisms that he has been getting regarding his weight, sometimes like I've read on Twitter, like it's insane. I don't know. Like
I actually agree with that. Sorry, I disagree with that, Sonny, because the point is, as Dami rightly pointed out, it's all about availability. And Dami knows better than anyone here, like how many games has Reece James played across the last 3 seasons?
Yeah.
See, that's
a problem. It's a problem.
The point is that your elite defenders, your elite players, you're playing them the big box to show up when it matters the most. Do you understand?
But when who would in their right mind actually put him and Ashley Cole in the same bracket? Nobody's going to,
Oh no, I'm not putting them in the same bracket. Definitely not. I'm just saying, like, as far as molds are concerned, because you look at Trent. Trent is phenomenal moving forward. Like, I don't think there is a better fullback moving forward than Trent, genuinely. But when it comes to defensiveness, he's a sieve. Do you know what I mean? Literally straight sieve. Like, there's nothing, like, his positional awareness is terrible, okay? He's like, literally like, he when you watch him defend, you're just like, what is going on there? But for me, Reece James, I think moving forward, he's very, very good. Like, potential world-class good. And defensively, when he's tracking back correctly and getting into correct positions and doing those bullish tackles that make him Reece James and bullying people off the ball, he's also very, very good, So I feel like he can sit in that sort of, I have a class of fullback, attack or defense, at a very high level, as long as he's available. So for me, that's what I mean as far as well-roundedness. I'm not saying he's anywhere near Ashley Cole's level as of now. Absolutely no chance. He would need quite a few years to be able to actually get to that point. But yeah, I feel like there are some sort of similarities as far as well-roundedness is concerned, going forward and defending. So yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we will just wrap this rapid fire up with the last one. I think this is kind of my attempt to irk out an unbiased answer from you. Okay, so this is going to be wild. Ivanovic against Carvajal. Like, who do you think you would pick in their prime?
Holy God. Wow, what a question.
Is Dami still here?
I'm here, man. I'm thinking, raw. Carvajal, I can't lie. I don't know, man. I don't know. Carvajal is obviously a great, like, he's obviously like a pretty great, he's a great, what's it called? He's a great fullback, but like, I don't necessarily feel like, I don't know. I'm not drawn to Carvajal that much. I'm probably going to sit with Ivanovic, man. I feel like what Ivanovic did at Chelsea for me. But Carvajal is obviously he's a great fullback. I'm going to go with Ivanovic. I'm sorry. I'm probably going to get cooked for all these responses, man. But you know what?
It's all good. It's all good.
I personally don't actually, because even I, as a Madrid fan, I've seen Carvalho at his best. I've seen Ivanovic as well. That's why I actually kind of readjusted my position because I think it's a really, really tough one. Honestly, like you can't go wrong or right.
I think like their respective fan bases would pick Ivanovic and Carvalho. Like they wouldn't opt for the other because they were so similar in what they brought to the team, whether it be tenacity, leadership, all of that. Ivanovic was an animal, man. Like I used to wonder like what Jose Mourinho used to feed this guy to be, like running like a rabid dog up and down the flank. It used to be mad. Ivanovic was one of a kind. Right. So let's get into present day Chelsea. Much more bleaker picture. Dami would be wishing, his debut on a podcast would have been at better circumstances, with the Tuchel hype and whatnot. I knew Matisse was a huge advocate of his Tommy, as he daringly calls him. But where did you stand, Dami, regarding Tuchel and his sacking?
Look, Tuchel's sacking, I woke up to that and I was distraught for the whole day. Genuinely, the thing is, like, for me, I try not to be rattled by football. I genuinely do try not to be. Because the common misconception a lot of people have is like, and as content creators, you guys know this as well, like, at the end of the day, like, people watch for entertainment purposes. So when I'm recording my videos or whatever, I mean, I'm not saying I'm not pissed off because, like, when you're holding 3 goals against Brighton, that's a bit stupid. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm genuinely pissed off, but obviously you over-exaggerate things just like, I mean, it's for the content. Like, we all know this. Like, do you know what I mean? It's kind of like people watching wrestling and thinking it's real. Like, at the end of the day, like, yeah, they are fighting, but, like, it's not that deep. But Tuchel, that rattled me to my bones. That shivers down my spine. And I still can't believe it happened. Because if you think about it, he's won most of the points we have this season in the Premier League, and I still find that statistic extremely ridiculous. He's an absolute world-class coach, and I understand that there was not really good communication with the ownership and everything, but after seeing how the owners have operated within the last basically 12 months, okay, and seeing the way they converse with the managers and the players and all these little bits and bobs, it's a bit concerning to see, So for me, like Tuchel, I definitely do wish we had given him a bit more time, but I don't like to dwell on things in the past at all. So I'm just going to kind of keep it moving, really. That's kind of how it is. So, yeah.
I completely missed that, but I guess I'll have to live with it. So just in a word, you against it, right, Dami? Against the sacking. Against the sacking.
Of course, I was against the sacking. Yeah, I was very, because I felt like, because my thing is, I was more against the timing of the sacking, okay? If you sacked Tuchel in the summer, that is such a clear message of, we don't really F with this guy. It's not going to work. Like, that's cool. You sack him a couple games into the season, inherently shafting the next manager because you've signed a crap ton of players that don't really have chemistry. And then, like, there's no time to implement the new manager's system, and you've done that halfway through. And supposedly you signed some players for that guy, so you knew about the guy, and you kept the other guy for free. Like, come on now, that like the timing just didn't make sense. Like, and if you could have sacked him before that, it would have made sense, and you could have sacked him just as the what's it called, World Cup came around. Those two things that made sense, but that timing absolutely no sense to me. So yeah, I was generally against the timing specifically. Yeah,
fair play, I guess. The thing with Todd Bowley, you always knew that, like these personalities are gonna eventually, clash, and it happened like everyone, predicted. But looking at the league table, man, damn, it looks for some very tough reading, man. Like you're like what, 7-8 points above the relegation zone. The 40-point cry from Matisse. He used to always say, we gotta reach the 40-point mark somehow. But Dami, like, do you think there is a chance that it might get really, really, hairy towards the end?
I'll be very, very like genuine with you guys. I refuse to believe we'll get relegated. That can't, like, that's like, let's not take like you know what I mean? Like, I refuse to believe that. However, looking at all the games we've got, like, upcoming, I'm not confident either. Because obviously we've got you guys tomorrow, as of the time of recording. We've still got Arsenal to play. We've got to play City. We've got to play all these other Brentford and Nottingham Forest and all them man there, like all these funky clubs. Like, it's scary season. And we've still got to play United as well. Like, look at all these little names here. I don't see us picking up points because we're not even picking up points against Southampton. I was at the Southampton game and I saw some of the worst football I've ever watched at Stamford Bridge. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it's just a bit crazy. And like that 40-point mark thing, I was making jokes about it about a month or so ago. And obviously everybody was just like, what you on about? Like, this is Chelsea. Here we are. Still not on 40 points. It's crazy. It's unbelievable, genuinely. So I don't know, man. It's pretty sticky for Chelsea right now. And this is like honestly the worst I've ever seen of this club. And I think this is the worst we've ever been, genuinely. I think this is far worse than 15-16 as well. So it's pretty crazy, man. Honestly, it's pretty unfortunate.
Nah, man, but the thing is that, the 15-16 team was a whole different thing. But actually, to your point about the 40 points, I think you guys are just being paranoid, honestly. Like, I know you guys are playing absolutely garbage football right now. But, man, the point is you guys, if I'm not mistaken, correct me, like, it's 12, 13 points ahead of Nottingham. We are currently 17th, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, the point is, even if you lose all your games, do you think Nottingham are going to make up 13 points, honestly? I don't think so.
If we lose all our games, but the thing is, it's just like the fact that we're even having that conversation just shows you where the depths are. Chelsea, as of now, if you think about it, and look, realistically, like I said at the start before I went on my whole thing, are we getting relegated? That can't happen. Like that can't happen. I'm not even trying to entertain if buts and maybes. That cannot happen. If not, I will be at Stamford Bridge with the placard to make noise and everybody will know I was there. That kind of thing. It can't happen. I will take days off work and I will be there to cause some noise because 100% can't happen. So I refuse to even believe that's a possibility. However, looking at our fixtures upcoming, I'm struggling to see where wins are going to come from. I mean, yeah, maybe I might be pushing it over with Nottingham Forest or whatever, but these guys are being dogged. Look, we've all seen, you guys think over the years. Remember Reading? A couple years ago, when what's that guy's name? The guy with the slick back hair with Adam Lefondra and all these man cooking up for last couple games of the season. What stops Nottingham Forest from doing the same thing? Do you know what I mean? And we're going to go up against them when they know, these guys are actually like, they're not far from us, like we can do something. Do you know what I mean? Southampton did it. They are dead last and they beat us twice. Yeah. Come on, like, so for me, it's just like, this is some atrocious football. Like, Chelsea are playing we've scored, all right, less goals than we've conceded. I've never heard that in the Chelsea, and I've been following Chelsea for a long time, as far as I'm concerned. I've never seen that before. Haaland has more goals than my football club in the Premier League this season. That's a bit. What? Nah, man. Look, for me, like our recent form, it's difficult to be optimistic, and people might tell me, or people might take to fans in general, like, don't be like, why are you being so optimistic? And like, back in my day, fam, I didn't see your day. I wasn't there. I don't know what that feels like. I've never experienced that. So don't ask me to relate to something that I have absolutely no clue about. So it's pretty crazy, man. It's honestly pretty crazy, genuinely. But nah, we probably won't get relegated. That's me just, like I said, it can't happen.
But speaking about relegation is one thing, but do you think this team is actually on an upward trend right now, or has the team already reached its lows?
This is rock bottom. It has to be rock. We can't get worse than this. I refuse to get worse than this because this is literally like, this is rock bottom. Because now I don't see us even making Conference League, which I find crazy. The fact we're not even making the Conference League I don't even want to be in the Conference League. Well, for me, it was either Champions League or bust. Europa League, we can get into that. And the thing is, look, I'm never going to turn the trophy down, but I would rather strip them of everything. Take all of those things. We're starting the next season. If we finish in this position, we're probably going to start in the second round of the FA Cup. That's unheard of for a club of our stature. But look, I'm willing to break it all down. Let's start from the very beginning. Let's get back into the grit of things. Let these players have one game a week, sometimes 2 games a week. Let them drill in the whole, you know what I mean? I'm trying to see a repeat of 16-17. Because truth be told, like when you look at Chelsea's starting 11, that starting 11 should be able to beat almost any team in world football. And I'm not saying that from a deluded standpoint. I'm saying that from looking at each and every single one of those individuals at their peak. Raheem Sterling shouldn't be playing this way, Enzo shouldn't be playing this way. Felix shouldn't be playing this way. Do you know what I mean? Like Aubameyang is holding bench. Chilwell is behaving somehow. Reece James, same thing. Mason Mount is on bench. Look at all these names that I'm calling. Like, look at all the money we've spent. It's not just, I can't justify it.
But let me ask you something quickly, Dami. Names you mentioned, Felix, Raheem Sterling and Aubameyang. Like Aubameyang, yes, like during his early years at Arsenal, he used to be a cold-blooded killer. But how many of those can you guarantee to get you like 15 goals a season? I don't think there is any. Not Sterling, not Felix.
But the thing is, it's just like, this is why I don't know if you saw the reports earlier, but apparently Boehly and Ekbali went into the dressing room and they called out Sterling supposedly because what they said.
I didn't know that.
What they said. I'm paraphrasing, but what they said was they went into the dressing room and called out a senior player that they spent a lot of money within 12 months. Only people that fit that bill are Cucurella and Sterling, and Cucurella didn't play that day, so I'm guessing it was Sterling. Now,
Cucurella hasn't been that bad. Yeah,
he hasn't. Cucurella, I don't think Cucurella has been great. I think he's been very bad.
But he's been better than Sterling.
Yeah, but the thing I keep telling people is Sterling is just like, it's like I'm trying to think of it's like trying to use a fork to eat cereal. Like Sterling is not designed. No, but it's true. Sterling is a poaching winger. That's what he did at Man City. All the goals he scored at Chelsea are from poaching. Even Sterling, you see when he gets on the ball. And the thing is, I'm not the biggest fan of Raheem Sterling. Genuinely, I'm not even the biggest fan of him. But I can see, and anybody can see, that this guy is not being put in a situation. Yeah, like I'm saying, the people are expecting certain things from him that he doesn't do. Because Sterling was a world beater. I mean, our City was a world beater. See what he did for Guardiola. See, no, but you don't score that many. And if you think about it, Guardiola chops and changes players every season. Sterling was there for years, consistently. So for me, it's just like, look, at the end of the day, like certain people definitely can be blamed. You can look at Aubameyang and not, but Chelsea aren't even set up in a way to benefit half of these players in the first place. There's been no adequate coaching in this team for the last 8 months since Potter came in, and it's evident on the pitch because there's no cohesion, there's no confidence, there's no tactical drilling, there's no combat, nothing. There's absolutely nothing.
So, against Brighton, like people were actually trying to coach themselves. Like the amount of times you guys were overrun, man, it was insane to watch, man. Like how. Like well-drilled a team Brighton were, like compared to you guys. It's mad. Chelsea, the Chelsea I grew up with was not like this, honestly. Like you lose that edge and it's all gone, unfortunately.
Actually, Dami, isn't that to detriment to, like, because the point is Todd Bowley is coming and saying things and, you know, saying shit and calling players out. But the point is, it's so obvious, as Sunay said right now, like the players are literally coaching themselves. And as you alluded to, like there is no tactics, you understand? There is nothing. So the point is, even if you put Cristiano and Messi in this, like, unless if they're just going to keep playing Euro ball week in, week out, it's all going to be garbage. Like, you keep watching Chelsea and, like, you don't even know what's going to happen. Because you're pointing out, you know, to the 15-16 season, and then after that, Conte came and won the league and all that. But the point is, there was a pattern there. There was a group of players that have done this, won this, have shown before. But right now, you know, to Sunait's point, it's just a group of players that have been bunched together. You don't even know if they're going to fit. You don't know what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. You have zero idea. But Conte came, he met the likes of Cesar Spilicueta, you know, the likes of Kante and all those guys. These guys have won leagues already before. They had won.
Spilicueta is done, unfortunately. Like I love the guy, but he's done.
Look, I like what you said that there's quite a bit to unpack there. So I'll probably start off with the first part with regards to Boehly going in. So for me, like a lot of people online at the moment are just like, why did Boehly go into the dressing room and make noise? Look, if I'm a player, like, I'm going to keep it real, okay? If I'm a player and he walks in and he starts making, I'll be like, who is this guy? Obviously, like, he runs the club and he pays. I mean, we know who he is, all right? But then again, when you consider the circumstances and, like I don't know what he could have said in that dressing room, but that's besides the point. The point for me is these things don't matter too much. And I'm looking at this from a lens of, if Chelsea were winning and he was going into the dressing room, nobody would be talking about this.
Yeah,
I mean, absolutely nobody we're talking about. So for me, it's just like, that's just one of those things that ends up happening. And look, like you also said, I just feel like you mentioned 2016 to 2017, right? I had players that had won there before. Half of the people that started against Real Madrid last week won Champions League 2 years ago. So like, they know what it means to palm your squad. They beat them last year as well. We beat you guys last year as well. Obviously, you guys ended up qualifying because of Real Madrid, like La Legacy. That's just Los Blancos legacy. You man have that UCL sauce. You know what I mean? Like I've said this on DR Sports. I don't know what it is you man do because it's not tactics, but you guys just have this something about your badge just makes you do your thing in the Champions League. But my point is that this Chelsea team, I faced this Madrid team. A lot of these players are faced. This is the 3rd season in a row, if you think about it. So some of them do know what it means to be here. However, I just feel like the lack of coaching and the lack of confidence have absolutely shattered every single one of them. And another thing as well is there aren't a lot of senior players that are actually giving a lot of direction in that squad. And I can't necessarily blame them because there's no spine. And we've been talking about this for years, you know? We've absolutely been talking about this for years. So it's pretty crazy, man. It's crazy. And you mentioned Aspilicueta as well. Yeah, I think Aspilicueta is done. Yeah, I think we should.
It's gonna take a while, you know. Like honestly, like I'm pretty sure the patience has, you know, run dry. It's understandable considering the circumstances. You know, Chelsea fans have been so accustomed to their team challenging for every single trophy inside and being, you know, basically babysitted by a Russian oligarch. It's only fair that, you know, that they can have their own moment. You know, it's only fair, but like. Actually, looking ahead for tomorrow night, you know, how big of a miss is Chilwell, Dami? Because like I've known he has a fair share of detractors, but going forward, like I think he's Chelsea's best guy on the left side.
Look, thing is, I feel like Chilwell. Sometimes he does. I feel like because that thing that happened against you last week. This is not the first time this is happening. I think people have forgotten. It's happened quite a few times when you drag somebody like that. And I think it wasn't the smartest thing from him, and I'd expect more from him. But at the end of the day, he's still going to be a big miss because moving forward, Chilwell is one of those people I look towards to actually do. I mean, he's a bit on the younger side, but you can definitely tell he has like character and he's got a bit of charisma to him. And he's one of those players that will actually get stuff done on the pitch, regardless of what people are saying. No, not all the time, but he will be a big miss against you guys, 100%. It will be a massive miss, especially when you've got Cucurella in the current form that he's on. So yeah, I'm going to miss him tomorrow. 100% going to miss him tomorrow. It's a letdown. It's a massive letdown.
What about Modric, man? Like, are you happy with his progression? Like at least I remember in the match against Brighton, like he showed some initiative. I think for a game that was crying out for some initiative, like he actually took control of the ball, like drove at their defense and rightfully got an assist, man. Like, how do you think he's going to be pivotal tomorrow?
My thing with Mudryk is I've always said to people, a lot of people feel like you've seen the 007 memes on Twitter, you've seen all the cooking, you've seen all the dragging, you've seen everything. But the truth is, I've always said a couple of things about Mudryk. For starters, I wanted to sign him, because I used to scout football, but I don't have time for that anymore. But when I heard about him and I looked at him, I was like, who is, even like, I spoke to like someone that watches that league pretty often on the podcast, on the Byline. I remember doing an episode on the Byline back then. And even he was just like, the kind of money we're spending on this guy is a bit funky. However, when you watch him play, it's pretty evident that he's raw, but there's something there. And for me, he is willing to go at players. And one thing a lot of Chelsea fans don't talk about, rival fans don't talk about, is the weight of his passes. The weight of Mudryk's passes is very, very good. And if you look at some of the chances that we've had up front, if we actually had some form of competency up there, his numbers, as far as like providing for other people, would be way higher. I could say that about Enzo as well, and I can say the same thing about Felix. We have 3 players that can actually get stuff cooking in that team, and Mudryk is 100% one of them. However, I'm not sure what direction Frank is going to go tomorrow, because obviously, if we had managed to hold on to that 1-0, I would have probably seen Mudryk coming in a bit there, because it's more of like, whatever happens kind of thing. But with 2-0 down, they're going to kind of need a bit more. I mean, but then again, it's actually the inverse. Like, you might even see Mudryk tomorrow just because of that. But I would like to see him against Real Madrid, because that's kind of where he made his name, though. That's when he came to you guys and like, he absolutely
skinned Carvajal,
yeah, and he absolutely cooked. So for me, it's like I'd be open to seeing it. I think he's a good player. It's just that sometimes he takes a few too many touches on the ball. I feel like that's something that he's not really good at, and his finishing hasn't been great at all. It has been abysmal, but it is what it is. He's still raw.
And it kind of reminds me of Vinicius, man. Like, if you give this guy time, like, you never know. You know, he has all the traits you would require in a very good winger.
Remember Sterling at 18 for Liverpool? Yeah. I mean, different players, very different players, but there you go. Look at Sterling. I mean, obviously, I don't want to compare him now, but look at Sterling last season. Like, 2 different, just time. It's time and patience.
You know, Dami is saying the direction Lampard is going to go, as if Lampard has a direction to go, man. He's just going to tell, okay, boys, go out and do what you can do and let's go home.
Look, you know what? I am very critical of Lampard, and like, look, when I saw the announcement again, I was devastated. I was genuinely like, what on earth is going on? And the thing is, I've just realized he's just basically gone in and almost sacrificed himself because he just keeps getting worse and worse and looking worse. But against Real Madrid, if I'm being very honest, we set up pretty well. He set up at the start, the way we set up with those hard lines, that 5-3-2, and those couple chances we had at the start, I said it on DR the other last week, like, if we had scored those first 2 chances, like, we're talking completely different. And I mean, once again, Los Blancos badge influence can always change things, you know.
He's actually trying to jinx us. Damn it.
Real Madrid. I think it's Real Madrid is Real Madrid. And like, regardless of you can be 6 goals up, and I'd still not write Real Madrid off. Genuinely, like, you guys are that. I don't know what it is. You guys can be the worst.
We have humility, Dami, that a lot of you guys don't have. I've seen you talk on DR Sports. You weren't so humble, you know.
Pardon? On DR?
You were accusing us of paying the refs.
You might feed the ref for that game, man. You guys feed the ref for that game. Nah, I'm joking.
Which game?
Don't mind me, man. I'm joking. But look,
you were so fucking rattled, Dami.
I was.
Your composure was low.
That was the day after the accident, bro. Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry.
Nah, you're good. But the thing is, people wouldn't get that context. And I didn't need to put that online. But then again, once you get the context, then you understand my behavior. And it's like, okay, exactly. So like,
Raul would cook you, you know, get you rattled up either way, you know, like, even if that didn't happen.
But the thing is, I definitely would not have been that rattled if not at what happened. Because I was discharged from hospital the night before, and I had to go and I watched that literally the next day. So it was pretty crazy, if you know what I mean.
And for the people out there, he actually took the time to get back to me as well, you know, the day before. So yeah, man, big up you, bro, man.
Of course.
Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it.
Of course. But yeah, like I said, I feel like Lampard set up pretty well against Real Madrid. It's just that they started fumbling mentally halfway through. And then that's kind of what. So I'll give him the plaudits for that. So I'm interested to see what happens when he can't just defend his way out of things tomorrow, you know? Because against you guys at the start, I'm guessing the plan was defend, try and pop 1 or 2 goals at the other end, defend.
So up the pressure and hit them on the counter, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it would have worked if we were competent up front. Felix should have buried that chance at the start, in my opinion. But that's
the way Henry was kind of breaking that down. Like, any striker goes cross body, the shot goes cross body, cross goal. Like, I don't know what happens to his instincts, man. Like he is supposed to be a clinical finisher, which is.
I just feel like, I think, once again, I feel like one of those things where there are 2 things involved here. Number one, like, if Aubameyang plays, we scored. Even if Broja, for God's sake, if Broja was...
Yeah, Broja is a good striker.
Broja would have scored that as well. And the thing is, Felix's finishing has not been great since he came to this club. And I'm not...
It wasn't great.
And it wasn't great at Atletico either. But the thing is like... And this is not an excuse for him at all. But I also feel... if we had a couple people up front that were pretty competent, this wouldn't be a conversation either. Do you see what I mean? It's kind of like the whole owners in the dressing room thing. I feel like there are some things where the discussion isn't necessary. Like, Felix does every other thing perfectly well, in my opinion. Like, he creates a lot of chances, he draws players in, he's very exciting to watch, which is something that you don't get in football too much these days. So he ticks a lot of these boxes, and I feel like confidence, which all these players are lacking, is definitely not helping his finishing either. So that's kind of where we're sitting at the moment.
Can't disagree with that. Like, confidence is your main thing when you're up front looking for goals. And this team are super dry regarding goals at this moment in time. But going the other way, Fofana, you know, like, even though he picked up an early yellow card, yes, he lost Welbeck for the goal against Brighton, but he was actually good, you know, like, up against Winnie, one of the best wingers in the world. Like, he stood his ground. Like, do you think he'll have a big say tomorrow?
100%. I think Fofana needs to be on his piece because he brings character and energy to that back line, you know? Thiago Silva and Koulibaly are a bit on the older side. They're obviously way more mature and they're going to be a bit more cautious with certain things. And that's...
Is Koulibaly fit?
I think Koulibaly's fit. I think last time I checked, I'm not 1000% sure on like Koulibaly at the moment, but I'm pretty sure he'll probably play in that game. But yeah, I just feel like, look, Fofana is going to be that one person, that he's going to be the only one in that back line. And another thing I was talking about on DR as well is he protected the hell out of Reece James, honestly, in that game. because Reece James got beat for dead so many times in that match, and Fofana was cleaning up so many times. So the fact that he managed to sort of avoid that second yellow and that second booking is a massive going into that game against you guys tomorrow for us, genuinely. So yeah, he's going to be very important, very, very important, very charismatic, very, very, very athletic as well. And his tackles are usually extremely clean. So like, yeah, he's going to be very good for us tomorrow, man.
Fofana is well worth the 80 million you guys paid him for, unlike, like people like Harry Maguire. But
bro, chill, man. 80
no.
Fofana,
I'm just stressing the extent of that madness. But
the thing is, if Fofana keeps progressing at this rate and he stays fit and he keeps getting better, because he's not going to get worse than this. I can't see that happening. Like,
absolutely not.
People rarely get worse. You know what I mean? And touch wood, man. Let me not jinx anything. But look, at the end of the day, like I don't. As long as he stays at Chelsea for some time, I don't like. Look, the money wouldn't matter too much. Especially if he peaks out. Like,
damn, it's not coming from your pocket. That's why it doesn't matter.
Pardon? I mean, doesn't come from my pocket, like, you know what I mean? But like, you know what come from my pocket when I go to the games and I watch us lose like 6-0 or something, like. So like, yeah, man.
There you go. Right. I guess that is pretty much Chelsea. But let's look at us, Real Madrid as a team. Dami, like, are you actually at least a tad bit confident that you can get something out of this game?
I don't know. See, your team is so funny, man. Honestly, because like, I don't know what that day. Because I watched back the game after again, and I've not, because usually I watch games back twice, but I've not had that chance with this one. I watched that game back again, and I still genuinely felt like Real Madrid, honestly. And Raul kept saying it as well. I don't watch you guys all the time. I watched you guys batter. Who did you guys batter the week? Was it 6-0 or something crazy like that?
Valladolid, yeah.
Yeah. I saw that, but I mean that's kind of expected. But the thing is, against us, I don't know if it was the tactics, but you're there for, like, I feel like the way you play, you're almost there for the taking.
We leave so many spaces.
Yeah, you leave so many spaces, but then again, I feel like that could be to your benefit because it almost gives the opposition a false sense of optimism.
And they just fuck up the final pass.
Yeah, and the thing that I kept talking about as well was the fact that when you guys get the ball, the speed at which they interchange Benzema with it's crazy. And the thing is, Benzema,
not just the speed.
Three chances max, and he's scoring. So
it's not just the speed, Dami. If you pay attention to it, it is the quick change in tempo. Like Chelsea players, at one moment they'll be like, oh, okay, it's fine. They're playing it around their center backs. It's fine, but it's the speed at which Modric just switches up the tempo. That's what catches teams off guard, in my humble opinion.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is. But also the other thing is, like, I was surprised the way our midfield kind of nailed the press. Like, we were on to you. Like, did you expect that while watching the game?
I was shocked. I'm not going to lie. I was shocked. I think the midfield battle was pretty decent, to be honest with you. I feel like in midfield, you guys definitely had the upper hand on us. But I do 100% feel like I wasn't expecting that because I wasn't expecting the legs. Like, I wasn't expecting them to be able to keep up. Because when I saw Cover, Kante, and Enzo, I knew that they were trying. That was let's outrun these guys kind of move. When I saw that 3-5-2 with the two
Kante actually broke through, if you remember.
Yeah, he did, and that's kind of the advantage you have but for the most part, considering their ages and the speeds at which they run, like I was pretty impressed that you were able to sort of press us out. But then again, like Kovacic, Enzo recently on the ball, like getting pressed out, not too impressive. So. Yeah, definitely did work to your favor. You guys are good, man. Look, you've always been good, and you guys have nothing else to play for this season. Do you know what I mean? So, like, Champions League, another one, like, was definitely on the cards.
Every egg is in this basket, unfortunately, and we gotta do something, man. Honestly, tomorrow, I hope it is the least eventful, Champions League fixture that we have seen, yet. I mean, that's my only prayer. But a couple of the comments, they were asking, should we start Militao? He's one yellow away from missing a potential semi. Like, I'm pretty sure the yellow card accumulation is wiped out before the semi-final.
I think
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, 100%. So it shouldn't be a problem. Anish Haridas, big up Anish. He was asking, should we start Nacho at left back and Camavinga, Cruz, and Valverde in the midfield? I feel it's going to be an intensive game. I think we'll struggle if we start both Kroos and Modric. I don't know, like I was thinking the same. Probably Nacho at left back would be a much more safer option. But the amount of confidence that Vinicius gets and the whole of the left flank gets when Camavinga is actually in control of the ball and driving forward, like I think Carlo would stick with that. About the midfield, you never know. The more you underestimate, Kroos, Modric, and their inability to, carry games, they'll just surprise you time and time again. And everybody has learned that. The whole of Europe has learned that, over the years.
And the thing is with those two as well is that they might not be able to move like physically up and down, but the way they move the ball is more than enough. It's more than like they move the ball in sort like one of my, obviously, like it's not a personal regret because like I do run Chelsea, but one of my biggest regrets as like watching the transfer window was when we didn't sign Modric. It was how many years ago? It was like 13 years ago or something. Just before he moved to Real Madrid and Tottenham.
Yeah, it was in the news. It was one summer before that.
Yeah. I remember that.
Remember that.
Like, if we had gotten him then, I mean, I don't know what I've done to him. My man might not even be here, but boy, Modric is such a baller, man. What a baller. Honestly,
he must have made winning the Champions League a tad bit easier, under Di Matteo for sure.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
I'm chilling.
Tarun Kumar in the chat says Carvajal always shows up in the Champions League nights. Yeah, that's one thing you can't take away from him. I just hope he doesn't underestimate Mudryk tomorrow if he's up against him. Dennis the Great is back again as always. He says, Ala Madrid, I can't wait for tomorrow. If Almeria would have gotten a draw yesterday, it would have made my weekend. Yeah, let's not talk about Barcelona, man. Let's not go there. But quickly on to Farouk and Jacob. Like, what should we do to keep the score the same, or just like finish the game off? And also, finally, to Dami, you can answer this after them. What should Chelsea do to actually turn the tide? First, I'll ask the boys, man, like Farouk and Jacob. Yeah, take it away.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Jacob, please go ahead, man. Just go ahead.
No, I feel like whatever we do or plan, it's not going to work against Chelsea because I feel like having the advantage heading into the second leg is going to be played detrimentally towards us. We're going to like kind of sit back, and sitting back is not really our forte this season, especially. So no matter what we do, we're looking at like an exciting game for Chelsea at least. So the only thing I can say is if we are still going to win, but we're going to win with the power of friendship and kindness.
Power of friendship. Let's go. It's underrated, Dami might be, downplaying it a bit, but he knows what it means. He knows the extent to which, the damage it can do. But Farouk, man, quickly.
Actually, you know what's made. Actually, when you were reading about one of the comments, you were talking about the fact of playing Nacho, as a fullback and Camavinga in the middle of the park. Actually, considering Nacho's form in the last two games, honestly, I'm not too confident about that. But one thing that always comes to mind is what you guys we've discussed this before, is that I always just remember, in 2021, it was literally Kante against Real Madrid. That's why I kind of
don't remind me.
I choose not to agree with with Dami's perspective that this team has won the Champions League before and all that. Yeah, the team has won the Champions League, but the team won the Champions League based on Tuchel's tactical nous, defensive solidity, and N'Golo Kante. Honestly,
and the new manager bounce as well. We forget that,
There is that, but honestly, Tuchel was a fantastic tactical coach. He was outrageous.
Yeah.
Honestly. You understand? So that's the thing. And now I'm also,
and we were suffering a lot of injuries. Vinicius wasn't the same guy. There was a lot of...
Man, it's not even that, honestly. But the point I'm trying to get to now is that Kante is coming back from injury, right? He's not back at full fitness. Even in the first leg, you could see those glimpses, right? So now imagine he's back to being fully fit, you understand? So that's why, for me, I would think the way to go is play Nacho as a fullback and play four midfielders. Camavinga, Fede, Kroos, and Modric. And play Benz and Vinicius up front. Rodrigo should come up in the second half. At least for me, because I'm just really scared of that athleticism because I feel like Kante is a one-man midfield. I think it's been a very long time since we've seen such an impactful central midfielder in the Premier League, honestly. So I really, feel scared about that. So for me, just negating that effect of Kante, I think should win us the game.
High praise. I don't know, man. Like, I've always been a guy that didn't get the Kante hype, but the more I think of him as a box-to-box midfielder, yeah, it kind of makes sense. He's very underrated in that regard. It is when he gets put into the conversations of CDMs. I don't know. He has the traits, Like, I'm not gonna lie, but when he's up against people like Casemiro, it gets a bit icky. But Dami, on to you, man. Don't take offense. It's just a humble opinion. But yeah, man. Like, what? Yeah, what should you do from a Chelsea perspective to turn the tide tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow.
See, what should we do?
Yeah.
What should we do?
Yeah.
Go pray, man. That's what we can really do. Not much else that can be done. Before everybody, all I can say to the players, before they all go to bed tonight, go on their knees. Respective gods, just pray, man. That's all I can really say, because, it's honestly like 1% chance, 99% faith. That's literally all it is. Like, genuinely, like, I'm saying that in the most, and the thing is, like, Real Madrid have their thing, but, and I'm not saying Chelsea's is by anywhere near close, but there's something about Chelsea that regardless of how much I cost them out, or how much I make noise, or how much I cost certain people out, there's something about that club that just refuses, that doesn't just allow me to 100% write them off. Do I believe I'm going to actually batter you guys at Stamford Bridge tomorrow? Not necessarily. But there's a little part of me actually who... the funny part is, I'm so frustrated now, whatever. When I get to the studio tomorrow and I've still got to go on there, part of me is going to still be slightly optimistic, because I feel like we still have that. There's always that chance. You know what I mean? Football has seen so many ridiculous stories.
If Chelsea score early, Stamford Bridge is going to be rocking.
Yeah, and it's always going to be rocking, and like the thing is like, there are no more away goals anymore, so that doesn't really count. Like, as long as, asking the Chelsea team to score 3 goals in 90 minutes when we've only scored 30 in 33 games is a bit crazy, but like... But like, you know what? Anything can happen, Absolutely anything can happen. So I'm just going to sort of go down, absolutely hope for the best, because genuinely, like, I don't see an actual world objectively where we beat your squad. Like, I genuinely don't see it, honestly. So, but look, it's always there for the taking, man, and I can only hope.
But if we go through, do you see us winning the Champions League, or do you think City would kill us this time?
I can't lie, this looks like City's year, man.
Like, more of that, please.
Looks like City's unfortunately. Like, it just looks like. But then again, Real Madrid, like, you can't write off Real Madrid, man. You know what I mean? I'm not even trying to kiss ass or anything, but it's history. Do you know what I mean? It's history. You guys in the Champions League are those guys. Do you know what I mean? Like, you man in the Champions League are those guys, and like, regardless of, I feel like you guys could line up with like 10 of them.
But there wasn't that respect until the Premier League saw that with their own eyes last year, Dami. Why is that the case? Because the amount of times that I've seen British content creators in general, when talking about us, they seem to downplay what we can do so much. Why is that? Why do they never learn? That's my final question for the day. Because I want to know what Dami thinks.
I don't know about other fans, all right? But for me, and I think where it comes from is just like when you watch your team sometimes, all right? The way... I think people always forget that the way you guys set up, kind of like how you set up against Chelsea the other day. And I was a victim of this very thing last week. You set up in a way that made it look like you could be gotten. I kept saying it throughout the whole thing. I watched the game back and I still feel the same way. But that could just be how you guys get people in the basket. Do you know what I mean? That could just be it. And I feel like that's how you guys have always... there are some years where you've absolutely dominated and dismantled. You know what I mean? Real Madrid have had their periods where they beat... I remember how many years ago was it? 4-1 final? Atletico Madrid? Remember that? That was cooking. That was ridiculous.
4-1 against Juve, 2017.
Yeah, Juve as well. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, all the different times you've cooked people in the final and all of that. And you've also had your games where you just sort of managed to get it done, like last season against us. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you managed to do stuff like that. So I feel like you've always got to respect our Real Madrid heritage, regardless of the situation at hand. But look, I don't know, man. Real Madrid is a team that have got prowess, and we can't really write them off at any single point in time. It's the same way I feel like, and not in the same breath, but like, you can't 100% write off Chelsea either, So not to the same level, clearly, but you get what I mean.
Absolutely, man. Chelsea in Europe is a team to be reckoned with. Like, regardless of what they're doing in the league at this moment in time, I always told people and my mates, man, like when we drew Chelsea, yes, they're going through a bad moment. Yes, they have their ownership changes and whatnot. But for me, Chelsea always have that little trump card that like sacking a manager mid-season might just be the kick up the arse they need. But it was brilliant, man. It was brilliant having you on, Dami. It was an absolute pleasure. It was a long time coming, like you said. Hopefully, we meet again sometime in the summer.
100%, we will. 100%.
Yeah, sometime in the summer, or maybe next year we get to see, because like people were mourning about Chelsea and Real Madrid not really having good matchups, but we have seen it back to back in consequent years, and yeah, man. Any final thoughts, Jacob and Farouk, before we kind of wrap this up?
Oh no, let's just do
Yeah,
predictions.
man. Yeah.
Do you really want to go there? Predictions?
Yeah.
I'll go with Dami first. Go on.
Nah, man. Nah. I need to respect the other Real Madrid fans in the room, so like they need to see that first. Like, let me go there.
See, he's doing his whole jinxing thing. Yeah, go first, Jacob. Come on, get it done. Jacob,
it's gonna be a 1-0 loss for us, man. I feel like that's.
Oh, that's a bad one. Right, fair enough. Farouk,
A 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. Nobody is optimistic. I'm gonna go with a 2-1 win, man. Unfortunately, Chelsea's home form has been very poor. I don't think even their crowd will be enough to get anything but a goal from the game. I'm pretty sure you're going to score, and you might even score first. But
actually, the thing is that Stamford Bridge is a very weird stadium. Honestly, it's very narrow.
It is. It's very narrow. Yeah.
When just
the crowd is almost onto you. It's one of those old school stadiums.
It's just anything can happen in the first 15-20 minutes. Honestly, but after watching the game at the weekend against Brighton, honestly, I haven't seen any team play any worse than this in my whole life, man. I have been watching football, I think, since 2007, 8 or whatever. I haven't seen garbage like this. Honestly, a team as highly assembled. Honestly, like I'm not trying to shit on Chelsea or anything, Dami, but it's just the obvious thing. Honestly, it was absolutely garbage. I mean,
since you're on that,
Brighton are good.
Since you're on that, quickly, Dami, who would you like? Nagelsmann at Chelsea next year?
I think look at the start. If I'm not, let me not start politician answers, man. Enrique, I was gonna give my whole reason and everything, but look, I think Enrique is the one personally, because like I said at the start, he commands a certain level of respect from those players. Okay, he's not a pushover for the board, so this appointment is going to tell me where their head is at. Nagelsmann. I'm not saying Nagelsmann is a pushover either, but then again, I know Enrique been there, done that. Yeah, he's been out of management for quite a bit of time, and that is a concern, but. Seeing what he did at Barcelona, yeah, they could argue he's the greatest front three of all time. Why isn't PSG doing the same thing then? I know Messi's older, Neymar's older, but same thing applies. Like having 3 players like that and getting them to link up properly is very incredible. So he's got one set style of play, is not confusing, and that could be detrimental because obviously, like I had issues with Sarri for having one style of play, But then again, like I don't feel like at this very point in time, these boys need re-inspiration. They need to be drilled. And they need to just have some guidance from someone that they absolutely 100% cannot mess about with, and that's Enrique for me.
So what's the outlook looking like for next season? Then are you looking at instant impact, a Conte kind of thing, or like gradual process like Arteta had done with Arsenal?
I just want us to rattle feathers next season. I'm not expecting us to go out there because for me we need to be back in Champions League, because this whole thing, even in January, I said we need to be in Champions League. Did I think we'd make it? No, but we need to be back in there because we can't not. You don't spend almost the GDP of the whole country and not make Champions League. Like, it don't make no sense. Do you know what I mean? So for me, next season, we need to be back in there, top 4, okay? And we need to be ruffling some feathers. Do you know what I mean? Like, not the one where you've got like City and them man there going, oh, we're like 10 points. Like, no. We need to make sure that when we go up against the big boys, they're like, crap. We've actually got to play some serious football, So I'm trying to see a Chelsea team that has got cohesion. I'm trying to see a team that actually qualifies for the top 4. Why can't we win the FA Cup or the Capital One Cup or whatever the hell they call it these McDonald's Cup, KFC Cup, I don't know what it's called. Why can't we go ahead and win one of those things instead, So like we need to get one of those things sorted out, and we need to be doing something serious in the league, man. Especially with our Champions League football. There's no midweek, nothing to worry about.
So you're saying the United and Ten Hag way then?
Yeah, screw it. Yeah, man. Why not?
So everybody's gonna eat up the process lingo. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, man. That's what these Americans want. So they're clubbing it. So like we gotta do what they gotta do.
Fair enough. Yeah. Good luck to Chelsea, man. Apart from tomorrow night, but finally, man, Dami, your prediction quickly.
Right, I still have to do that.
Yeah. Go for it. Go for it. Get your chest out.
Bro, nah, man, I'm gonna clip this. You know, I don't know if I want to say anything crazy. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Maybe like, I think we'll draw. We might draw, yeah. We might draw. Let me not jinx it. We'll draw. Yeah, we'll draw. I don't know what the draw will be, but we'll draw.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. I'm fucking scared right now. Oh my god. I'm not gonna lie. Dami. Dami actually went for a draw, you know. So which means it goes to extra time. Yeah.
I never said anything.
Okay.
I never said anything. All I said was a draw.
Fingers crossed. Anyways, it was a pleasure. Also, don't forget to check out Dami's channel. The link is in the description. Follow Dami on Twitter. The link is in the description. Also, his Instagram profile link is also in the description. It was a massive pleasure for having you on, Dami. Also, don't forget to check out our partners on Real Madrid Committee on Instagram. The link is in the description below. Massive love for all you guys, you know, supporting us on audio platforms. I think we have just touched 20k plays. It's a very small achievement, and you know, in a very short journey that we have had. And you know, like people like Dami, when you guys when you guys extend your warmth, it's honestly a very humbling experience, because I used to watch you guys do your thing on TV, and now we are actually having you on the show.
Anytime, bro.
It's such a surreal deal, man. Like honestly, like we can actually sit here and talk football, man, like it's like as any other day. But yeah, man, to Farouk and Jacob, thanks for actually, you know, like rattling Dami a bit, you know, because he needed to be rattled, you know, this season especially. And hopefully, you know, Dami is in a much better you know, composure level for tomorrow, you know, because he'll absolutely need it on the Sports against Raul. But until next time, people, Ala Madrid.
Ala Madrid.
Up the Chelsea.